Trash, 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 trash. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to All That Trash, a podcast about all that reality trash and all our trash opinions on them. I'm Kuba and I'm joined by Sarah.
Hello. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope
Happy New
everybody's
Year.
well.
Yes, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all the things. That's
All
over
that
though.
jazz. It is. It's behind us, thank God, actually. Not gonna lie, Christmas is not my absolute favourite time of year. I know it is for some people for many reasons. I know it's not for a lot of people, so we can just let it go, let it die as we
It
do,
happened.
and be like, I'm never like New Year, new me, but I don't hate New Year. Like, I'm not like, oh, I know for various different reasons. For me, I'm like, New Year, right, let's go.
Yeah. Do you know what? I did have a surprising amount of people ask me what my resolution was. I thought, you still,
Oh.
do we do that as adults? Like, sorry. Like, just live life.
Yeah.
That's my resolution.
Exactly. Well, do you think that people are trying to does that say something about how people feel about their current lives? Like that we're all just kind of a
Maybe.
state of like misery. So we're like, need to change something. Sorry to be negative, but
Probably. Because someone asked me, a few people asked me, and then I said my resolution is to try. They were like, that's not a resolution. I was like, well, that's what I do. I'll try to be better. I'll try to try,
God loves a
but
trier.
they didn't like that answer. So I don't know. Good luck to the people who are setting themselves up to fail. I don't fancy doing that to myself. So
Well, no, I don't either. And also I think it comes at a massive cost to your happiness, especially this time of year. Like I think if you're like, for example, people are like, oh, I want to like get healthier or do certain things and whatever. Like if that feels like something that you're ready to do in your mind, then great. If it happens to fall in January, then fine. But if actually this time of year is a difficult time for you, maybe listen to your body and allow yourself to do those things gradually rather than like in such a stark way. I don't know.
maybe just chill out.
Yeah, it's hibernation mode. I think that's actually become more prevalent. People saying like it's not normal to be like on full pelt all year round. So
It's
maybe
not.
just allow yourself to be slow, winter, turn in a little bit. And yeah, I certainly have been doing that. I don't know about you, Cooper, but I definitely have not been full pelt.
It's been impressive how little I've done.
Oh,
we can talk about that later.
No, but in a good way. Like, you worked also. You worked very hard this year, madam.
No, but I've enjoyed the downtime has been great, but I mean in other respects. But
yeah, the movements are limited to a very small square footage, if you like. But that's good. I think, but it's good to have stuff like I guess why you're all here. As you know, we launched that we're talking about Traitors, and it's such a good thing that Traitors on January because it just like I feel like it lifts all of our spirits.
It does, and it's for that exact sort of lounging about, doing nothing. You get so invested in this thing that you have no sort of stakes in at all, or no stake in at all, but it feels like it's part of your life. Like you're making really important decisions, the backseat driving, all that stuff. So
true.
Shall we just jump into it?
Well, like without further ado, yeah, happy to. Let's do it.
Traitors is back. It's very, very exciting. Very
Season
exciting.
3, baby. Yeah.
Season bloody 3. Yeah, I mean, how have you been finding it so far, generally?
Generally, I do think does feel like quite a different season to me from the other two. I don't know whether it's because with the other two, you're so invested in it. So by the end of it, you're like, oh my God, you're so attached to them. And with this one, because it's the beginning, you're like, oh, what's the vibe here? You're still kind of sussing it out. But generally, I found it really, really great. I think the production of it is so fantastic. Like the way that it's filmed and Claudia Winkleman and the challenges and the aesthetic. I just think it's always so. I think the UK one strikes a really brilliant balance, and I always think Claudia Winkleman is like the superior host. from all the others that I've sort of dipped my toe into, because she's like the perfectly right level of pomp and camp and ceremony, but she's not like over dramatic. Like I know it's fine. Like people, different strokes for different folks, but I think because she's really engaged with them as individuals, she's really like supportive of them, and at the same time, she's like doing all the silly, like walking around in cloaks and holding little lanterns. So she can do both. So I just love the show for that reason. What about you?
Yeah, it's exciting. I always feel a bit of anxiety because as soon as you're like a day behind, you're like, oh my God. Well, that's with any reality show that is sort of a daily or thrice weekly thing.
Yeah, it's
but
true.
I've caught up. It's all good. We're on time.
It's also the worst show to have spoilt for you, because like it would, if I were to watch an episode of Traitors and kind of know what was going to happen, I would almost be like, I'm giving up now. I'm not watching it anymore. Because
I'd be like, that's it then. I can't ever watch this again. What's the point? But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think as well this season they're being a lot more. They're not getting lost in the fact that it's a game. Well, sometimes they get caught up in the tasks and they're like, we're doing tasks and we're a team. And they get caught up in the best friends sort of aspect of it all. And I feel like that is not happening as much right now, which I'm really, really glad to see. Like, every man for himself, like, be selfish, be a bastard. That's kind of what you're supposed to do. So I'm enjoying that a lot more as well, that they're not just like, why aren't we sticking together, my mates? Like, I don't care about your fucking, no, your allegiances.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because
unless
also
they're strategic.
Yeah, it's true. Because I think the idea that faithfuls can band together, actually, it doesn't really make much sense, because the whole point is they're supposed to be fishing out traitors. So really, faithfuls should be like trying to act alone, trying to protect themselves over anything rather than protect each other. It's the traitors that technically are supposed to protect each other, but they don't often. Like, often they do turn on each other, as we've seen this year and the previous years. So yeah, it's interesting to see that vibe has shifted in terms of people's gameplay. But
we're gonna get into, we're not gonna do a recap in the sense of saying exactly what happened, but we will give our general impressions for each episode that's come out so far. So that's episodes 1 to 3. If you've only watched one episode and you don't want to hear spoilers about the rest, we will do our best to contain each thing that happens to each episode, if that makes sense. So you can like avoid those parts, and then maybe the rest of the episode if you literally listen to one. If you haven't, watch it, come back, basically.
True. I will say something about you, Cooper, having known you a number of years, is that one thing you absolutely hate is spoilers. Like, I feel like you've genuinely, when you've had stuff spoiled for you, I feel like you've been like, I hate you.
Yeah, I feel like you've ruined my life.
I feel like I've noticed that, like, is really it. And like, I get it, I do get it, but I know how much it affects you.
So people really enjoy spoiling things for people. I just don't understand. Sam, our friend Sam, he loves to spoil things.
Sam, if you're listening, no. Well, actually, an iconic moment that Sam, I remember we were watching that film Inglourious Bastards, and he spoiled like one of the main things that happens near the end. He literally we were watching it, happily watching it, and he just says, "No, don't do that to that person." And I was like, "Huh?" And it just like, oh, why? What the fuck? So yeah, anyway, so as Cooper said, if you don't want spoilers, don't listen to this episode. But to be safe, don't listen. We care about you, so here's your spoiler warning. Thank you for reminding them, Cooper.
No worries. Oh, let's start with episode 1. I mean, I guess first impressions, who stood out to you the most?
So episode 1 was an interesting one, because I really the person interested that did stick out to me was Tyler, because he was giving like cheeky chappy, and I think he, his reaction to be like, I don't want to go off the train, I was like, oh, it's interesting, he's showing sides. But I do really feel, I was like, oh, I wonder how I feel like this is going to get him far. I think that was like my initial instinct, was like, because people love a cheeky chappy.
They do.
And, people also love a sensitive cheeky chappy. and I think he was giving that kind of sense of like, you know, I'm a barber, I'm misunderstood, not misunderstood, like people, you know, have preconceived ideas about me.
And I love birds and I love
Yeah.
crosswords and stuff. He was giving me like Arj, but like a bird watching Arj from Only Way to
Yeah,
Essex. Yeah.
definitely very that. And yeah, I thought he was interesting. The one who kind of also, I was like, I didn't know how to feel, is the woman who is in the army but then is saying that she
Oh,
is posing as a nail technician. Now,
she irritated me.
she did irritate me. She irritated me because I at no point did she say I'm choosing this job because other people assume that I would not be as intelligent as if I were in the army. Number one, being in the army is not the flex you think it is, babes. I know
No.
that everyone's like, oh, the army, you could do what, but like, whatever. But also, I just feel like, is your perception of nail technicians is that they're all
Yeah,
stupid? Like,
yeah. I
so,
didn't. I just thought, why? It didn't make any sense. I was saying it when I was watching it before to my boyfriend. I was saying like, I don't. This is like saying, oh, I work as a cashier, but they all think I'm a bin man. It's like, but what's the problem with either of those jobs? What did either of
no,
those jobs say about your intelligence? Like, and what are you betraying about your? It doesn't make any sense.
yeah,
Like, it was very weird, and I didn't understand what she thought people would think about her being a soldier. I'd get it if she
no,
was like the guy who won last year, who was was he an engineer? I think he was.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
okay, yeah, like, you know, you have to use your brain for that a bit more than like, I don't know, getting trained to kill people. But like, I just didn't really know what she was. It made me think she was stupid and a bit of a
yes.
snob.
Yeah,
Like,
the snob definitely was coming across, and I feel that, like, I understand it's a game to be played, but I also feel that there's an element of like, you can maybe not make up a fake persona and so pointedly say nail technician, is in like people will think they're stupid. Because I mean, for example, Lisa, the woman who's saying I'm a priest, but I'm not going to say I'm a priest, who I was like, you look really good for 60s. I
oh,
was
I
like,
really love the
I
priest. I
was
like
like,
Lisa.
she looks quite confused, which I
She
like a lot.
does.
I'm
I
like,
really
I'd
enjoy
be
her.
confused too. But yeah, I get like not disclosing your job, and maybe the woman Lisa probably has, she'd probably say, oh, I'm retired or whatever, so like, you know. But even so, and it seems like it just seems like a weird thing to be like, I'm gonna say I'm this job to make people think I'm not a threat. And it's just,
Like,
yeah,
what does that mean?
it it points to how we are. I guess it's like how how you think someone else thinks is indicative of how you think. You know, the
Yeah,
thief
yeah,
thinks that everyone is trying to steal from them, like
yeah,
kind of vibe.
yeah.
So yeah, interesting. What were those were kind of my standouts. I think. Who were your like people that jumped out at you?
I think she was one because she pissed me off, and I thought, what's she even talking about? She's just irritating me.
Mm.
Who else stood out to me? I think Alexander, Yin, Yin stood out
Oh
to
yeah.
me because I was like, oh Yin, this isn't
Oh
gonna work. this
yeah.
this strategy of I don't know. I think because she's so smart and she's so into obviously what she does, of being like what she adopted
Yeah.
with communications,
Yeah.
being that into the way that we communicate, I guess, it's
Yes.
going to make you have an approach that is unnatural, I guess, or seems unnatural to other people, which
Yeah.
I think would make her, if she got further, would make her seem suspicious
Yeah.
in the long run. I kept thinking, please just stop stop doing that, but she's just being herself.
She was very, I think she was not afraid of putting herself out there, which is always really nice to see in traitors, though we have seen that time and time again, like people who do put themselves out there, who are also unanimously people of color, tend to get like earmarked for being
Mm-hmm.
like threats.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. There's like a consistency there between earlier seasons. But she definitely was entertaining from like the outset, and also having those skills of being like, you know, communications expert. It doesn't necessarily make her a threat. I
No.
don't think, if, for example, she was made a traitor. But anyway, we'll go on. It
Yeah.
was how. What did you think? I when I saw the so obviously we know that they had to choose people to get off the train, and like, what did you think how would you have, if you were in the carriage, what would you have done? Because I
would have
probably
stayed
would
the
have,
fuck quiet.
yeah,
That's what I
would
would
have
have
been like, I'm
done.
not going.
I'd be like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't know whether I don't get why they didn't do like process of elimination. Like they didn't be like, oh well, I don't know, pick a number between
Yeah, because
1
they
and
kept
10
saying, "Oh, it's not fair to do that," but none of this is fair. So just fucking do
No.
whatever.
And no one has any real stake in the game yet. So
No,
yeah.
I mean, a part of me would think about getting off first because I know they'd bring me back, but it's harder to stick around when they bring you back later on because they always think you might have been recruited or you might not be brought back, but they always have. So I feel like, no, they're not going to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Who else stood out to me? I liked Keith because he's old and he's an old man. I like old men. I don't know why.
Cuba has a penchant for old men.
If I do, not in a sexual way.
No, she just likes them being themselves and being out and out. Like, and he just was, he was a real sweetheart. And you could tell he was just gonna have the most fun. Lisa, when from the outset, when she was like, "I'm mad, me," I was like, "Oh God." It's
Lisa.
not that I
Which one's
didn't.
Lisa?
Lisa is not Lisa. Sorry, not Lisa. Linda.
Oh, Linda.
Sorry, Linda.
The other old lady.
Yeah, exactly. Linda. And actually, interesting. I saw someone say that they think that Linda and Lisa are a couple.
Ooh, that would be juicy.
Which I wouldn't put them together because I
don't think Lisa would. I think Lisa would be very irritated by Linda.
Yeah, I think she would find it too much.
Yeah,
but I was a bit with Linda. I don't know whether she was
doing too much.
Doing too much, and I don't think she's the icon for me that I've seen a lot of people saying. I think her iconicness is not for genuine iconicness; it's more for like, what the hell are you just doing?
Yeah, I think well, we'll get there, but I don't think that that she has as much. I think she has a lot of personality, but I think the role she's been given has stripped that out of her, and she doesn't know what to do anymore. So
she's a bit lost.
It's a bit, it's a bit tricky. Yeah, who else is in the cast? I think the diplomat stood out because I thought he seemed a bit annoying. He's quite bossy and a little bit pompous. The one who volunteered to get off. But I understand him being pissed off with people for for not volunteering to get off.
Yeah, it's true. Well, interesting. I had a similar reaction to you. I was like, his eyes were quite intense to me. He was giving. I was like, whenever anyone says they've ever worked in like international relations, I'm always like, spy.
I was like, what dodgy shit have you been up to? What have you been doing?
Yeah. So obviously he was off the train, and then who else was off the train? His name is Fozia. Yeah, Fozia. Who again? Bossy. I was like, don't. Oh,
I know.
With her, I was sad that she got off, but I also, was, as we know, when this sort of stuff happens, we think they will come back because it makes no sense. The game actually doesn't make sense if people go right at the beginning. Like, it doesn't actually. Because it's always a way of like it's a way of testing their perception of people and being like, who's going to self-sacrifice, who's going to act in the interest of the masses, or who's going to be, how will they react to that thing and how will they perceive each other and how. So yeah, I was sad that she got off, but I was happy that I was like, well, I know she's going to come back, so
yeah,
to the end.
And she seems like a big character as well, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. She's definitely got a lot to say. I thought as well with I think the other guy who got off, was it Jack?
Jack, yeah.
Jack? His hair, I was like, his hair reminded me, I was like, whatever the young people do with their hair nowadays, I'm like, I'm so old.
I know.
I was like, I felt like an old lady. I was like, it looks like he's cut his hair with his bloody kitchen scissors. And then I was like, no, that's the style now, Sarah.
That's the vibe. I know, but it's so what he looked very interesting. I was glad that he got off. He seems like a nice boy. I think he's young, so I'll call him a boy. But he I don't like the cheeky young chappies on Traitors. Or I don't like that there's so many of them. And I thought, we've got enough. Like, get off the train. I don't need to see
you. They skate through.
They do.
I think they often garner a lot of like respect because they're non-threatening, but they're also, when they have their moments of like, oh, actually maybe everyone really honors it. And people often like are already like banding behind them anyway, or based on their personality. So yeah, they definitely are the most kind of successful.
Yeah. What about
Mm,
in terms of moving forward to they've chosen Traitors and Faithfuls now?
yes.
Because we were talking about this before, and I was saying I really hate the segment where Claudia's talking to all of them, being like, "Who do you want to be?" I find it so pointless, but
Yeah, because it really doesn't factor into the selection. It's not like a you know, a what I don't know, pity Olympics, not pity Olympics, but like struggle Olympics is what I'm saying. Like, it's not the most worthy person is not selected, like in terms of who needs the money the most. It's like, it what do you think is the selection process? Is it random? I
yeah,
don't
well,
know.
I think the producers have. I think they know who would like to be a traitor,
Yeah, of
and maybe
course.
someone who might make for a entertaining traitor, even if they don't necessarily really want to be one. But I think anyone who's like adamantly like, I really don't want to do it, I guess they maybe will spare them. But I think the producers have an idea of who's going to do what. They do the interviews for our sake, so we can see what they want and like how much, why they want the money and what sort of character they have. But I just find it, my eyes glaze over at that point. I'm like, all right, let's get to. Sorry, I always knock my mic. Sorry, guys.
That's fine.
Yeah, let's get to the point. So the traitors, we have Linda,
Mina,
Mina.
who I absolutely love. No, it was. Yeah, I don't have any hate for Linda. Linda's all good. She just is a bit silly to me.
Yeah, I want to hang out with Linda, but I think she's proving to be a shit traitor at the moment. She's just doing nothing. Mina is fantastic. As soon as Mina became a traitor, I was like, she could win because she's got a very trustworthy demeanor. She just seems like someone who wouldn't be, and not someone who's an obvious person who wouldn't be a traitor. Someone that you just would overlook. Generally.
It's true. I think she's someone who's like, she's obviously listens to people. She's obviously quite conscientious, and also it's interesting, obviously, with Charlotte and being like, I'm going to have a Welsh accent and pretend to have a Welsh accent. I was just like, okay,
girl.
People are like, why would you do that? I'm like watching the discourse. So I was like, it's quite funny that she thinks she can get away with it, but whatever. But I think obviously Mina also having, I think Liverpool accent is
that's
quite
a very disarming one. Yeah, people like listening to a Scouse accent.
Yeah, so I was really happy she was chosen. Now the lovely Armani.
Oh, Marnie babes.
So, yeah, she. So obviously, let's talk about the rest of the episode. And the all episodes. So obviously, in the first one, they sadly killed the lovely Yin.
Yeah, poor baby.
Which was a real. I definitely screamed. I have to remember now that I have neighbours next door. I didn't used to, last year. I didn't have a neighbour next door.
Yeah,
and now I do. So I have to be careful not screaming at the top of my voice. But yeah, I was gutted. At the time.
I was sad to see her go. I knew that I'm just going to pour some coffee and then I'm going to edit it out.
Lovely.
Well, maybe I won't. But anyway, yeah, I was really sad to see her go because I think she would have made for really funny TV. Even in the round table as well, she would have made. I just think she would have been brilliant.
Yeah.
Sad, but then immediately Armani, I was like, ooh, babe, you are the weakest link. Like you.
Yeah.
And I thought that maybe her lack of strategy and self-awareness would make it easier for her because people would underestimate her, which they did initially. Like, oh, she's not smart enough. Sorry, but I think a lot of people were thinking she can't be. Like, no, she wouldn't be able to handle this.
It's true. It's almost too obvious. She's not being underhanded enough, like a traitor should be.
Yeah.
She was too open. I think what we see later is that thing. Like, often you'll see her being like, "Oh, they were talking about you today. They weren't talking about you today."
Yeah, like, mate.
I'm like, I don't. What does this even mean? I'm just going to come over and have this conversation. What's everybody saying? And I was like, what is the strategy? Like, that I don't get it. Like, what is the strategy? What is the move?
I don't
And,
know.
you know, I think, so in the first, when they kill Yin, I was like, kill Maya, kill Maya, kill Maya. But then I think that obviously would have looked too obvious. But obviously when they came to breakfast.
That's what I thought too. But yeah.
Oh, you thought that they should have
I
killed
thought
Maya
they should
as
have killed the
well?
sisters. Like, either kill her straight away or kill her next after this. But yeah.
Because Maya was, it was, Maya was her system. I was obviously going to clock at some point.
Mm-hmm.
When she was bawling her eyes out, I was like, I was like, have
Where
you
did she
done
summon
some
this
acting
from?
lessons before you came in? Like, what's your background? Because those tears, it really confused me.
It gave me, because I thought, I could see it being overwhelming, and that being like the catalyst for the tears, of course. But I think it was because they went on for so long. I was like, wow, this performance is a bit dramatic. You need to rein it in a bit. And I think over time, I just feel like it felt like she was doing an audition to be something, like a presenter or a persona on TV or something. And just, there was something really disingenuous about her. And I found her, I loved watching her.
Yeah.
But I found her difficult to watch at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. For me, I think her and Maya a little bit were giving, like, they really want a TikTok career. Like, I think it was
TikTok-y.
they remind me a lot of people you see who are quite successful on TikTok, who are like very expressive, but also very like used to able to be really quick and really like and like catchphrasy and all that sort of stuff. That's always been the case, but like of people on reality TV. But I think definitely, because I've seen them in my scrolling. So, and a lot of them do the whole TikTok thing, and they get really into being like trying to be. So that was the vibe I got from her. And you're right, she was it was entertaining to watch her like very haphazardly move as a traitor, but yeah, that the crying was like, I know what you mean about it being overwhelming, but I was like, those tears looked so
intense.
Like, wow, these are really intense tears.
Yeah.
So obviously,
So I don't know. are there any more thoughts you have about episode 1 before we move into episode 2?
No, not massively. With Alexander, I was very like, oh yeah, like, okay, fine. He definitely felt like he was going to go first anyway. He didn't really. I literally had to remind myself what his name was. And I can't really remember like why they suspected him so much. I think because it was just his vibe. To be honest, I think because he was giving Paul from last year.
But he wasn't
he was the first person to be banished.
What?
His name was Alexander. Pretty sure it was.
He's the one who got off the train.
No, sorry, Kuba. Yeah, no, sorry. What, Nathan? What was the first guy's name? Sorry.
I'm so baffled now.
I'm so like, it's him.
I only know because I'm looking at the photos of them and their names.
Oh.
Are you talking about this season?
Yeah, I am. What's his name? Nathan. Nathan. Is it Nathan?
I forgot about Nathan.
Nathan.
Oh yeah, I like Nathan.
With the bald head.
Yeah. I wanted to see more of him.
Oh, did you? I was like, I
did. Only when he spoke up. Generally, he just faded into the background. I didn't even know he was there, like you said. But when he started speaking, I just liked his demeanor in the round table. I thought, I want to see more of him. Aww. And he seemed to be looking at things. He was actually observing people, which is what you're sort of supposed to do. But I guess it just fucked him in the end.
Oh, you know what? It shows that I need to be a bit more. I have too many prejudices, Cuba.
No, you don't. You don't. I just like the way he's carrying himself in the boardroom. I keep saying boardroom, like it's the Apprentice.
Like but yeah.
But yeah, no. I don't know. I liked him, but that's probably because he was about to leave.
Yeah. Well, yeah, true. Yeah, and also you do feel a level of like, oh no, like you don't really want anyone to go. If there was a version of Traitors where no one ever got banished and people only got murdered, I don't think I would mind that too much.
Yeah,
I whether they do that so it doesn't literally go on for like ages and ages, because it could really stretch it out for like 2 months. But anyway, so episode 2. episode 2. Um,
I have thoughts. This carries on from episode 1 and 2, but people who say things like everyone thinks I'm dumb, but I'm not, and like, oh, people underestimate me, generally irritate me. I don't like, but I don't know. I feel like it's something that might be in their minds more than it is, or people who basically end up having to act more manipulative than would be helpful in the game. So the one, as you said, the one who does the Welsh accent, Charlotte, is that her name?
Yeah.
She's added an extra layer of difficulty for herself for no reason. I found that annoying. The Welsh one, Ellen, she didn't explain any of her theories when she kept saying, I think it's this big strong female, whatever. Why? Say why.
Yeah,
and she also wound up, obviously, towards the end of the episode, it's like she anticipated that she thought that bringing out tears would be helpful for her in the round the table. And she talked about, well, obviously the voiceover is recorded after the fact, but it made it sound like she knew that she had to pull out the big guns, and she cried, and the crying looked fake, which it probably was. So it just made her look guilty. I don't like it when people do that to themselves. It pisses me off.
Yeah,
like people might think you're dumb, but just like move through the world, and like, I don't know. And I didn't know what it was based on for her.
No, I don't really know either. I don't know whether maybe it's like, because she's quite young. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, in her defense, but like, I think it's like a lack of life experience to be like, people will always underestimate me, like from the outset. And I agree. I think she was not observing properly who those women exactly could be. So, for example, like, then accuse someone, then like pull someone out that you think is a strong woman, because there are plenty to choose from. And also that, like, I don't know, like Mina, for example, like the way that she's very like, oh, like very clearly friends with everyone, clearly like says what she thinks. Like, isn't she someone who would stand out to you? Or even, I don't know, like Lisa, the priest person. Like, there were lots of those, take your pick. So you're right. I think in episode 2, this is where, like, obviously they start to be with each other and do missions and all that sort of stuff. And it really clearly was like, I'm just going off your vibe. I'm just going off the fact that, you know, in Kaz's case, you're a doctor. Like, and yeah, with Ellen, I don't know whether, there probably was an element of like strategy, but it wasn't really. I think it was, as you say, it was a trying to be persuasive, but I don't think it really had any weight behind it.
No.
Which is a shame. I didn't dislike her. I enjoyed her. I was annoyed that she didn't suss Charlotte, but it was like, it was an interesting episode. I think it's where my opinions kind of changed quite a lot of people.
Same.
I don't know, like because I don't know what your initial thoughts were of, is it Dan? The guy who...
Yes, my opinion of Dan completely changed.
It did. Mine went from being like, to being like, I actually think he's amazing.
Yeah,
but
same.
Yeah, because he was so... I think he's the one who really is like actually observing people's behavior.
Playing the game, yes.
Yeah. And that was really nice to see. And yeah, it was very interesting to see that flip. I think as well with what did I'm trying to think of with the mission that they had.
Yeah.
It was...
What did they do? I forgot.
So with the mission was they had to... I was really confused when they were explaining it, but basically it was like they had to go around and find like chests. Yes. They had to answer questions, and then like they would collect stuff that would like... They seem to be really into explosions this year.
They're loving the explosion. They're like, let's blow up your head.
Like, really want to blow shit up.
Lie down on the fire, and then we throw the firework at your face. Yeah. Like, okay.
When they were going around and like some of them, like if they got the question wrong, it would explode. I was like, that was me. I know, because I'm so scared of big loud bangs, and I literally go into the corner and like put my fingers in my ears whenever I know that there's going to be a loud bang. If I was there, I would be like, not be alright.
Sarah, do you know what would take me out? I was in that challenge. I was like, they're running so much. They're carrying so much. Like, I just would never do Traitors for that reason. I'm just not fit enough. Like, I wouldn't. I would never do it.
They
I would fail at everything.
Remember, there was the older woman in the first season who she was like, it was so like, she's in her literal 70s, and I am like 20, like not 20. I am
like 21. You're 30, 32, babes.
Yeah, no, I know, yeah.
So am I, it's okay.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think it would be like, don't look at me, I'm too unfit.
I know. It would be embarrassing, but yeah. They did well.
I really loved it. It was like such a real reason why I like really loved watching Armani was when they were when they're doing they had to like guess how many pictures are on the wall, and Kaz was like, it's definitely 4. And it's she's like is it 3?
1?
And so if you're there in the moment, because often when the people come off the show, they're like, I have no clue, I had no idea. I think there in the moment, maybe one of them was like, why are you being so obtuse? Like, obviously, but
those moments happen. And speaking of very quickly, I spoke to Diane from the last season of Traitors.
Is the article out yet?
Yeah, it's out. It's a first person piece, so it's just in her words. But she's very lovely. She's very kind. She's going to be in a play, apparently.
She's going to be in a play.
Yeah, I think it's a comedy play or something. I can't remember what it's called. Mother of the Brides or something like that. But
love that.
She's very lovely. If you want to know more, go on the iNewspaper, whatever website. I'm not going to. Yeah.
Cuba's a brilliant journalist. Go read her all her work. Many places, many very repeated establishments.
Back to the show.
So and obviously I think that what I think a lot of people have said, and I agree with, is that these missions, so in episode 2 and episode 3, are very geared towards making the traitors sabotage it, which is brilliant. So the whole thing about like making, if we get this, then someone doesn't get murdered, and they haven't introduced shields yet, which I think is will probably be coming in very soon. But also, just to move us on for the mission, and I can't remember if this came before or after the mission, but we sadly lost the beloved Cooper's beloved old man.
My babes, I know, Keith,
lovely Keith. He was doing the karate in his room. He was using his little eyeglass, the little spyglass thing. He was talking about he was very cute, a little ray of sunshine. I actually think, oh god,
gone too soon, poor baby. It's okay.
I'm not saying Keith was. I think Keith was such an obvious faithful. I don't get why he was up for. I really don't understand. I mean, I know that as a traitor you kill obvious faithfuls, but I also feel like you are also supposed to try and kill people who are a threat.
Yeah, no? I think it has to be a mix of both. It has to be people who are faithful, but people might suspect them. Or people who have been mentioned by people who wrongly accused someone else.
Yeah.
Or someone who's a threat. But sometimes they do the ones where they're like, oh, everyone's going to be rocked by this. And that seems to work for some reason.
Yeah.
Really early on. Like when they're like, oh, we'll get rid of a nice one. People always seem like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't really understand the mentality of that. It's probably once you're in there, that sets in.
Yeah. It's like doing it it's just wielding your power, isn't it? No, you're right. I think it's just that feeling as a viewer, you're like, you lose out on time with that great person, so it's a shame.
Yeah, they're good TV. Well, they're fun TV.
Yeah.
Do you know what I find weird? Where's Francesca? What's she doing?
Yeah, she's very quiet. I think so. We move on to episode 3. Unless there's anything more to say about episode 2 before we move on.
Did I have any more thoughts? No, it's all good.
No.
But yeah, Francesca. A few people have flown under the radar. Francesca, Leon, but then he's actually been speaking a lot in the 3rd episode.
Yeah, Leon's been good at the round the round table. I think he's been bringing a lot of takes, and I think he's also speaking. He's also someone who seems to be observing and being like, based on what you said, or like trying to pick up people's points, you know, people's inconsistencies, which is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's the other woman who's really thrown under the radar. The only thing I can think of is that she wore a little green top that had fur around it that I
Oh my
really
gosh, I
liked.
actually keep forgetting that she's there. Anna.
Anna.
Don't know anything about her. I couldn't tell you one thing.
She doesn't really
Today.
seem very engaged in the game. Like, she seems a bit but maybe it's just because she's not had much screen time. But yeah, so Francesca, what are your thoughts about Francesca?
I think people keep suspecting her. Only a few, and I don't know why, and we haven't seen enough of her to know why. But I did get the vibe because was it her or was it Lisa basically emerged in the third episode as like she's got secret skills, like she was good at rowing and stuff like that, and commanding people, telling people what to do.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed seeing that side of her. Did Francesca also do that, or did I make that up?
They were both at the back of the boat, yeah, so they both had the cocks, if I think is what it's called.
Okay. So maybe I think that part of it, maybe her taking the lead a tiny bit, surprised me and made me think, oh, are you a dark horse? Well, I think I would suspect her if I was in there.
Yeah.
For some reason, but I don't really know why. I don't really know why.
Well, again, like, to go back to Ellen's point, like, strong women, like, I don't know, like, she's women, she's in her 40s, she's got, like, I think she revealed she has like 4 boys and she's a single mum. Like, I don't know, like, again, like an example of like clearly a woman who's like got her shit together. I feel like, but maybe she's not coming across super strongly to them in there. But yeah, it's interesting. She would feel like an obvious target to some. I don't know whether it seems to be coming to light a bit more, the kind of perception, how much the perceptions are ruling people's voting and conversations. So obviously in this episode, or I think in episode 2 it started, but Tyler like started the kind of Armani rumors, which I was happy about, because I was
I was glad. I was like, finally someone
noticed.
Yeah.
But again, it was like, it made me remember, like, he is literally going to make it to the end, because he will figure out something, he will say something and figure something out and like put it forward, and because he has quite a lot of backing from people, he will always like pull people along. It's not like I dislike him, I just think he's got, I actually wrote in my notes, I was like, I feel like he got lost on the way to his maths audition. It feels like he belongs on another show.
He does.
He doesn't seem as much of an arsehole.
We need to see him on maths.
Yeah. But he's
not an arsehole maths, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think in a certain light,
we don't know.
He could be portrayed as, because I think on the boat as well, he was very like, he was giving like, come on, look, he was not being like the most, none of them were really being very nice to each other at all.
I actually loved that. They weren't really
supporting each other, were they?
Everything was falling apart. Like, everyone's being assholes. They were getting angry with each other. Like, I really liked, was it Freddie? Is that his name?
Yeah.
When he was like, I'm not posh. Like, I don't know how to fucking row. Exactly. Like, what is this? I was
this
like, yeah, horrible. Same. I wouldn't know.
It was interesting because he said, like, I felt really uncomfortable. I felt like maybe he was like, people assume that because I'm like a bit of a beefcake that I'm going to be great at this, but like, no. And I wonder whether he felt some masculine intimidation by like, you should like, I don't know.
Got more of the sense that it was a class thing because of what he said. Only because of what he said. I wouldn't have assumed that before, but when he said that, I think he just thought, this activity is not new I'm not familiar with this. No. And you're all telling me to do this shit. And I thought I was doing a good job, but apparently I'm not. And I feel out of my element. And I hate it. Yeah. And I want you all to fail because of that, because you're fucking annoying. I think that's why he said what he said.
Yeah, like,
I understand why he said that. He's like, I hope you don't get the shield. Like, because he doesn't get it either. It's true. Of course he would say that.
And it's interesting to bring back to your very first point about how like the faithfuls are not banded together. The faithfuls seem quite, out for themselves. Is interesting, and obviously, again, someone who's, my opinion of him flipped quite drastically. His name is
Jake.
I'm just
guessing.
I think it's Jake, having a right old hissy fit
You
about
pissed me off.
getting off the boat, because he did piss me off. I just thought, like, Dan has very good reasons to be like, no, like, I don't need to get off the boat. It was made very clear to us, whoever, if you get off the boat, you're sacrificing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're sacrificing yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need to?
I'm not going to save you, or I'm not
No.
going to make it worth your while just because, like, people who decide to make themselves a martyr and then get upset when they don't get applause for being a martyr. Well, don't volunteer. Like, that's how you avoid that.
It's true. And it seems that it was very, I don't know, it seems like Dan was just the first in his eye line, but he was like, he seemed to really clash with him when they obviously got off. And Charlotte as well. I just thought, like, Charlotte, I'm like, not be funny,
she's getting on my nerves.
your
Sorry.
decision-making skills are clearly a little bit compromised by whatever, I don't know, but, like, you don't seem to be very smart.
I think she's too focused on appearing nice and likable to people.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not doing anything for you. Like, the Welsh accent has done fuck all for you, babes. So stop doing that. Well, she can't stop now. She has to keep it.
Yeah.
Because it's too late.
There's literally no way out for you. And also you, I don't know, it's unlikely to slip, because I think she's already ceded the fact that she's like, oh, I grew up somewhere else, but I'm a bit Welsh or something like that.
Yeah.
But, like, it does, again, I don't know, being Welsh, it's a weird thing to latch onto if you don't back that up with you behaving like a innocent, sweet little person. Do you know what I mean?
Because she doesn't have that persona. Like, you can't just have a Welsh accent and then people just trust you. You have to seem like a nice, like, it has to be a few things going on. And I just don't think she actually has that in her arsenal. I think she's she cares a lot about, obviously they all care about the game, but I think she gets really frustrated when things aren't going the way she wants, and it's not very likable, which unfortunately that's exactly what she's going for, and it comes across as very try hard, and it's not the vibe. One thing we didn't discuss was at the end of episode 2 where Armani turned to the other 2 traitors and was like, guys, you're not doing enough.
Just gonna give you some feedback.
What was your reaction to this?
I mean, I was like, no. At the end of that episode when Mina was like, cold stare, I was like, that was priceless. Again, it was all in her character to be like a bit lacking self-awareness.
Yeah.
And also, like, in episode 3 where she's like, I'm just enjoying myself. I love seeing people enjoy themselves when they're on these shows, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it can't, but anyone would really enjoy themselves on this show. Do you know what I mean? Like, you do kind of need to play it. Like, again, Paul last year, evil bastard, not, you know what I mean? Like,
in the show.
Yeah, in the show. Great traitor, having the time of his life, but, like, was doing the game, I don't know, was doing the game a bit more, I think.
Yeah, Armani got really complacent too quickly.
Yeah, I think exactly. I think she was just, she got really complacent. She was in, and maybe it was always her thing that I was like, oh, might get out early if I'm really about it, and like all that sort of stuff. And I don't want to, the thing is, it's like, I was like in two minds when she gave them the feedback. I was like, she's coming from a place of like, guys, we don't need to, I think we could do it this way. But I think it was more being like, you're not doing it my way. That I was like,
you're not doing it right.
I don't have to, no one has to do it anybody's way. Like, you are supposed to work together. Like, you're not supposed to like dictate. I think she had in her mind, she was like head of the traitors. And I was like, oh, really not.
For sure. So I guess as Cass, he's been, this always bloody happens. I feel so sorry for like, I just, because I was saying this, obviously there's been a doctor before. There was what was his name again? I've forgotten again. The sexy black doctor. With an A. Doesn't matter.
In the first season,
maybe second.
Okay,
I
I'll have
don't
to go back and
remember.
look. Yeah.
They got rid of him and he came back, and then he had shirtless scenes all the time.
Oh, him.
Maybe first
Yes.
season. I don't remember.
Yeah, the one I remember the ones who he went out at the very first.
Yeah, he volunteered. He
Yeah.
moved. Yeah, and then whatever.
Yeah,
And they
I
brought him
remember.
back. I think that if he hadn't left early and then brought him back, and he wasn't hot, or actually the hotness doesn't matter because that probably wouldn't have worked in his favor. But I think
Yeah.
they would have also been like, something's up. You can't be nice and a doctor and black. You have to.
Yeah.
There's something's up, and I think
There's
that's what's
something.
kind of
Yeah.
happening with Cass. I think they're like, oh no, it's fishy that you're a nice person and a doctor. Why? Why is that fishy? That's stupid. Come up with a reason. Oh, you gave a toast and you're nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
It really doesn't make sense. It also suggests that they assume it's about. I mean, it's profiling, which is like it's very wrong, and I don't think is what the Traitors is really about. I think it's like, obviously, like certain people in life are more attracted to certain careers or more predestined, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
are more likely to, if you're in a certain career, maybe you do have a certain level of like analytical skills or whatever that maybe you use more in your day to day than other people do. That's true, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that exactly there's something inherently has to be off about you. Also, the thing is with traitors, it's like, it's that they have to act as traitors. It's not that they actually have to be unkind or evil actors. It's that they're playing the game as that role. So the fact that they really went for Kaz based on the fact that he's a doctor is very, very strange. Also, I mean, with the Harold Shipman thing, I was like, wow, that's spicy.
Yeah,
Because I was
I'm
like,
surprised they didn't cut it out, because it's not
it's
very
quite,
BBC.
no, I mean, you're talking about literally the most prolific serial killer, I think, in the world. They think he's killed he's like the most prolific one. And also, like, you know, victims' families all still very much alive and all that sort of stuff. But it was a shame to see how also the banding together against him, and I think it's Joe.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
The guy who seems to be leading it.
I'm not liking Joe's vibe. Like,
no.
it's very negative and a bit, it's a bit too much. Like, it's verging on personal. With like, say, oh, you're like a politician. Everything you say, like nothing you say has any substance, and it's like, what? Wait, he's saying a lot of things. Actually, no, I think he actually gave a good defense of himself, and I like.
It's true
that Lisa was like, I think you're describing yourself, mate.
Yeah.
When, like, I thought, oh yeah, Lisa, you defend him.
I think it's always interesting at the round table seeing how they react to each other, because often, like, people don't like when people defend themselves. They don't like to hear them out, really. Like, if someone rolls their eyes, God forbid, if they're a person of colour, they'll be like, see, you're rolling your eyes.
Yeah, it's like
it's
also,
very interesting.
as a doctor, of course he's going to get upset by the suggestion that he might be attracted to being more sinister, and that his job is a sort of guise for doing evil things. Like, of course he'd get upset about that. I can see why he would be, particularly because they were like, oh, you're going a bit far, mate, when he said the Harold Shipman thing. But I can kind of see why he might be more sensitive than they are to an accusation like that.
Yeah, like, of course. Also, like, if you think about it, and again, like, certain professions have this, I don't know, people have preconceived notions for vilifying them. Like, for example, Leanne with the whole army thing.
Yeah.
If I was sat there, I probably would be like, I don't know. I don't think I would say it in such a out and out way, like, oh, you killer, you could kill people. I don't think I would be like horrible, but I think I'd be watching her, I'd be observing her differently, potentially.
Yeah.
So,
and if she'd said that was the reason she hadn't told people that was her job, then that would make more sense. Not but anyway,
make people think ditzy because I think I'm a nail tech. But interesting with Kaz, I think he does follow a long line of people, smart, intelligent people of color, who get, like, for some reason, people really gravitate towards being like so mistrusting, and I don't know whether, I think Kaz, people are like, he's definitely going to get banished next week. I personally don't think that. I don't know. I think it's all to play for.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I would rather see him. I want to see him get further. Someone I would really like to see again, as we've mentioned, is Jake. I really don't. I was
Mm.
really not. I found his. He said something in the. I think it was in the second episode. He was like, "You're in it. You're an itch I can't scratch," or something like that. He said something really stupid. I can't scratch that itch, or whatever
Don't know
he
what
said.
it means. Yeah, or what he was trying to
That's not
say.
saying. That's not saying, babes. It's akin with people not being able to spell the name Nathan on their little thing, which I don't know whether they're like,
Yeah, I
what?
don't know what's going on with that. It's making me
Why do
laugh.
they? Why are they rushed? Are they like?
I
Do
don't
they just
know.
suddenly like overwhelmed? Is there a reason why they write Armania instead of Armand? Like
Yeah, why is it Amania? I keep
I
thinking,
don't
is that her
know.
name? Like, I'm confused now. Maybe because Maya. Maybe they get confused.
Yeah, probably. But
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah. What was your opinion of Maya's kind of reaction to Armani going?
Oh, I thought I understood it. Like, I think it might not help her in the long run, but I think it was just such a rush of emotions because she did keep looking at Armani like, why are you acting like this? Like, you're
Yeah.
acting weird, or like,
I
I
think
know you're lying, or like, I
yeah.
think you're I don't think you're being yourself.
I think she saw her personality amplify.
Yeah, and then seeing her defense at the round table or whatever, and how shit it was, I think she knew from then. Okay, I think she's definitely a traitor. But
Yeah.
then seeing her sister go, and then but successfully getting a traitor out, I could see that being a massive conflict of emotions and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
being really overwhelming and being like, I'm really happy, but I'm upset. And my sister, but just give her some money when you leave. Like if you get to the end,
Yeah,
it's fine.
exactly. I mean, they were always going to play together.
Yeah.
I think that I just based on what we've seen her behave like, I don't think it was an unreasonable reaction to come from her.
No.
And they're obviously incredibly close, so it was very normal. I mean, like, a lot of people were like criticizing Tyler for being like, it's just a game. I was like, I think that was an editing thing, personally.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to
I think
be
he
like,
was saying, because people were like, he's being so mean. I was like, I 100% feel those moments happened quite far apart. Like, and maybe she like was crying for like 10 minutes, and maybe he was like, okay, now I don't really get why. But you're right. People cry, and I'm a crier, so sometimes I cry over small things, and I get a bit like overwhelmed, and it looks worse than it is. So I was like, yeah, interesting. But I wonder whether she will last much longer before she gets murdered. Personally, I think she's
yeah.
probably going to get
I haven't
murdered
seen enough of
soon.
her personality to know how she's coming across. I think people trust her more than they trusted Armani because she seemed quieter, but I don't know if that's actually true. It's just that might just be editing. So I'd like to see how her personality shifts with her sister gone, because I think she was kind of dampened by it. By probably watching her sister the whole time was probably quite difficult. I wanted to shout out Olivia.
Yeah,
She hasn't done anything. I recognize her as well. I don't know why I recognize her.
is that Livy? Livy?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
She's anyway, I like her, but I don't know why I like her. I just think she's cute.
Again, she's out there, you know, putting out accusations, you know, creating theories, observing.
I feel like we're missing some. Yeah.
She's playing the game. She's definitely a player of the game. I don't know if there's anyone we haven't covered.
Alex. I keep forgetting about Alex.
Oh,
I think I like Alex.
Well, I could say with Alex, I think again, a true faithful, and was proud that he went for Armani. I don't know what they assumed Armani was going to do to him when he brought her up at the round table.
I know, they kept being like, oh, everyone's too scared. And it's like, what's she going to do? She's going to kill you. Like, just do it.
She's literally... Also, like, she's confident. She's not like totally brash. Like, I think she's like just a bit much. But like, yeah, I was happy to see him go for it. He's someone who I think will stay until the end, potentially to the final.
Yeah.
I guess, what do you think about the whole them not knowing ever? So the people who get to the final will never know the true identity. I think basically they said like no one will reveal if they're a traitor or a faithful at the end. So like how
Oh,
last year,
is that how they've changed it?
yeah. So I think that's what it is. So like how last year, in the
Oh,
very final scene, when what is his? Oh, I forgot his name. The winner, and Molly, and he had to say, "I am a traitor." They won't have to do that.
oh, interesting. I wonder how it will
I don't know
work.
how it will work. I think they'll probably explain it will make, because they don't really, the final was different this year, last year,
From
sorry, than
the
it was the previous year.
It was,
Um,
yeah. Yeah, I'm not
so
sure.
yeah, it'll be interesting to. I just feel like that's what I like about Traitors. Just keep going, just go with it, just go
Yeah.
with it.
Do you know what I'd like to see as well? If they introduce more, and it might fuck up the traitors a bit more. Maybe towards the end, if they introduce more incentives for the traitors to sabotage tasks, so like, oh, you will personally get more money if
Yeah,
you manage to get someone to do X, Y, Z,
yeah,
and not just fuck up the task, but like something specific, because it would be fun in the group tasks to see a traitor battling with that. I guess the Shield kind of does that to some
yeah,
degree, but I would like just a bit more pressure
yeah. More pressure,
in the
and
tasks.
also more like I'm excited to see how they angle new like kiss of death strategies. Like
Yeah,
obviously last year and the year before with like the the glass of rosé and all that sort of stuff. That's what makes it so heart-beatingly exciting to watch.
I know.
And yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm really excited for obviously the twist, as we saw at the end of episode 3. The three
They're
people who
coming
got
back.
off the train are coming back. That bit actually scared me. I actually find the imagery sometimes kind of terrifying. Like it just gives me shivers.
It is a bit scary. It's the
Um,
cloakedness and the darkness and the ominous music and
yeah.
the creaky,
It's-
yeah, castle setting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we were going to talk about some fringe theories at one point, but I can't think of
Mm,
any uh
no, I don't
right
have any.
now.
Right now, I don't. I don't think. I mean, my gut feeling is that I don't think Kaz will go. I think
Hmm.
that Kaz will
Interesting.
have redeemed himself a bit. I think that what I would like to see, what I think it will happen is that it will throw Kaz under the bus if he doesn't. Like, I think potentially they will murder someone like Joe or Jake or Tyler. Like,
Mm.
not Tyler, but I think. But I would love to see them murder a faithful who's they never do that. They never get rid of the faithfuls who have like backing. Do you know what I
Yeah, they
mean?
should get rid of Tyler. Was he on? Did he get off the boat? They should get rid
Uh,
of Jake. That's who I want, because
yeah, Jake
that's.
got the hissy
I th-
fit was really out of line, and I also feel like again it's always that thing: worry about you, like
yeah, worry about yourself, mate.
it's you chose to get off. If it's not what you thought it was going to be, then fine. But
Mm-hmm.
like, don't be like it's fucking shit. He was just a bit. He was just came off like, ooh, chill out, babes. But yeah,
Yeah.
no major fringe theories. And you don't seem
Well,
to either. But
if
maybe.
no major fringe theories, then I guess, do you have anyone that you'd like to pour one out for? We might have mentioned them already, but we'll bring
Yeah.
that back for traitors.
So
Who?
the thing is, I am going to pour one out for Linda. As much as I do feel like she's silly, she is, like Armani, she is clearly enjoying the experience.
Mm-hmm.
She, obviously, people have commented on, I saw a really funny tweet today and they were like, get her on Emmerdale. And it was so specific. It was like, because a lot of people were like, oh, this Hollyoaks level acting. And I was like, no. It's not quite right. And the Emmerdale was like, yes.
Who's
She
Emmerdale?
would fit right in. But like, it was really funny when she was just like, oh, God, oh, dear, oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
Who could it be? It's like, Lindsay, you have to come
Little
up with
shit.
theories. You have to come up with theories, baby.
Yeah.
You can't just be sitting there.
And with Jake, she was like, no, I'm going to go for... Why did she say she went for Jake? I can't
Because
remember
Jake
what it
went for
was.
her.
Because Jake went for her. And then obviously that was kind of like, thrown back at her. So, you know what, Linda, I'm not like diva, like obsessed, whatever. I'm not like, I guess she's my like fun to watch. I do, in terms of, the actual one who I'm like, yes, rooting for her. is Mina. I do think that
Mhm.
she's brilliant. I don't know whether it's me or my TV, but I always feel like her face is lit really weirdly in her confessionals.
Oh, I
Do
need
you not
to
think
pay
she
attention.
looks? I just feel like she's lit in a way. I think they've got this kind of bluish, almost bluish light on her face. Her face looks like a different. Anyway, I
I'll
don't know
look
whether
when
it's just
I
me, but I was like, oh,
yeah.
she's lit weird. It's like, oh, they don't know how to light her skin tone. It looks
Oh,
to
I wouldn't
me,
be surprised. That's the thing, isn't
yeah,
it? But I haven't
exactly.
noticed it. But that's just because I'm not very observant. So
Well, you
yeah.
are observant, Kuba.
Well, I'm
Really
not
observant.
of like the minutiae and
Observe
stuff like that all
observe
the
different
time.
things, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just really happy to see how well she's like got straight into this is my role, and like I
She's
think
fantastic.
she will go far, and I'm really, really gunning for her. And I don't think, again, with with previous traitors who've been like, you've wanted to see their downfall, doesn't we might want that and even if we do want her downfall at some point, like, I don't mind. It just makes it so fun to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
those are my people. What about you? Who would you pour one
Oh,
out for?
it's tricky. I think I wanted to say Yin, but I think we've given her enough. Like, yeah,
Flowers,
love
yeah.
to see you again, but whatever. Maybe Dan. Let's say Dan, because I felt bad that
Yeah.
I misunderstood the vigor with which he was going at his theories and like taking the game really seriously.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's almost like you don't want people to have theories when you watch Traitors, but like that's what they're there for. And you kind of forget, and you're like, oh, you're a bitch because you're accusing people. But sometimes the theories make sense or their hunches make sense, and I respect someone who's able to think a bit more analytically and try their best, even though it's impossible, to not be led solely by their gut, and like observe and like see what's actually happening. So yeah, Dan, I hope they didn't try and gang up on you again, and just stick to your guns and keep doing what you're doing, babes, even though this has already happened. And for us as the viewers, I'm excited for that to continue.
Definitely.
I'm excited to see Linda and Mina clash at some point. Not clash in a personal way, but Linda's the weakest link, so Mina's gonna have to kill her, I think, at some point.
100%. I think I think because already the suspicion has already been on Linda. They've already been like, well, she doesn't really say anything. She kind of just says, she doesn't really put anything forward. She doesn't seem confident enough to say anything, which gives traitor, because you're really trying to not plant seeds that you can't like see grow and like, water, if you like, go with that analogy. But yeah, it's interesting with how that will play out. I don't know. I think that who they recruit will probably be the biggest driver of that. And that Mina will probably recruit someone who she can oust Linda with. I think hopefully they think with that in mind.
Yeah.
Which will be exciting to see. And I wonder who they will recruit. I think, potentials could be someone like Francesca, someone like Alex.
Maybe one of the ones who are coming back as well. That's always a good shout.
Or one of the new ones. Maybe the diplomat, the guy coming back. That'd be interesting. But yeah, really excited to see it. Interesting. Sorry, just to go back to Dan in the whole, like, kind of being ganged up on. It is so interesting generally with traitors how much you're like reminded of how, like, how people are like, oh, don't worry, when you leave school, everybody grows out of it. No one's like, people don't bully each other anymore. And it's like, no, it never changes. Nope. Like, no, people's pack mentality and herd mentality and, oh, I don't like the look of that person. You don't also, like, let's band together and I'll be the leader. Like that whole thing. Like you're reminded how, like, that never goes away.
Never.
It's sad.
It's sad. Never goes away. Can't escape it. But
it was giving, like, Popular Boys. Like,
it was being little bastards for no reason. So stop doing that. Stop being little bastards. Oh, it's been exciting so far, and we will, of course, be covering this every week. Woo-hoo! So for the next round of episodes, get ready. You'll see us again next week.
Yes.
Make sure you've watched them, because otherwise, I mean, we try to avoid spoilers in each section, but it's fucking hard. So get yourself together if you haven't already.
Get your iPlayer. load it up,
Exactly.
or
Sort yourself
whatever
out.
you use to watch it.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Watch it all. Have a fun time. But yeah, thank you again for joining us, everybody.
Thank you. Remember, you can listen to us on Spotify and Apple
Yep.
Podcasts and Amazon Podcasts. And yeah, thank you so much for listening to us. Have a
Remember to
lovely rest of your
follow,
week.
like all the things, support,
Yes.
support, support. Share, share, share. Okay.
Cheers,
Yes.
guys.
Bye.